Would you state your name, please?
George Anthony.
And Mr. Anthony, what is your current address?
4937 Hope Spring Drive, Orlando, Florida.
And did your daughter, Casey, live with you up to the time that Kaylee disappeared?
Yes.
How long did she live with you?
Ever since she's been born.
Okay. And I want to focus on year, maybe 2 years before the disappearance to start with. That's a time frame. During that time frame, to your knowledge, was Casey working?
To my knowledge, yes.
Okay. Where do you believe she was working in the year or two leading up to the disappearance?
I was told she was working at Universal Studios.
And who were you told that by?
My daughter.
And was she working part-time, full-time? What was your understanding?
Full-time.
And I'm going to focus on the year leading up to the disappearance. So we'll be talking about from, say, June of the preceding year up till June of 08. What hours was she working, to your knowledge?
That could vary. Could be a day shift, could be an afternoon shift.
If you don't know, you don't know.
Well, would you see her come and go from the home when she'd say, I'm going to work, and you'd have some idea from what she was telling you when she was heading to work?
She worked a varied schedule, sir.
How many days a week?
I don't know.
Was she working weekends? Was she working a traditional work week?
It could change.
How about most of the time during that year?
I really couldn't really answer that correctly as far as how many hours and stuff.
Now, was she paying rent at the house?
No.
Was she contributing to the household expenses, groceries, those kind of things?
She did occasionally, yes.
What's occasionally mean? How often?
If you don't know, you don't know.
Let's put it this way. She would purchase things for the household, for her daughter and for us when she felt she wanted to purchase something.
Okay, and then how often, say in a month, would that happen?
Sir, that could vary. That could vary.
Okay, on average, how often in a month? Or was it not that frequently that it wouldn't be every month?
It wouldn't be that frequently.
Okay, maybe once every 6 months?
I'm not going to have you put words in my mouth, no, sir.
I'm not trying to. That's why.
Oh, yes, sir, you are.
That's why I started the question, maybe.
Let's put it this way. She bought things when she wanted to buy things. How about that? We'll just end that conversation at that.
Actually, we won't. My question, I'm trying to get a range of how often she would add to the household goods. You said not as frequently as once a month. Would it be fair to say maybe once every 6 months?
How about every other month? And we'll end it at that. How about that?
Okay. So long as you're telling me under oath your best estimate, it was about once every other month.
I'm telling you the best answer I can give you. Okay. So I suggest you go to another question, sir.
All right. So are you telling me your best recollection would be on average once every 2 months?
That's what I just said.
Okay. And when she would do that on average once every 2 months, give me an example of the types of contributions she'd make. Like how much money, ballpark?
I don't know. I never saw the bills and stuff like that. What she paid for? I don't think that's relevant here, sir.
What kind of thing would she purchase?
I'm not going to answer this any further with that.
You won't tell me?
No.
Do you know?
I have no idea.
There's your answer.
You have no idea. Then how would you know she was purchasing things if you have no idea what they are?
When you see someone bring bags in from a local grocery store, you know they purchased them. Wouldn't that say that they're the ones that purchased it?
Okay, that's helpful. Now, so in other words, about once every 2 months, she would bring in some groceries.
I just said that.
Okay. All right. What else? What else? Do you know she had a checking account?
As far as I know, she did.
Okay, now when you say as far as you know, did you ever, other than assuming she did you ever see her having a checking account, have specific knowledge of her having a checking account?
I know she had a checking account. As far as how long she had one, I'm not really sure.
So within that last year, you don't know if she had
I
one
have
or
no
not?
idea, sir. I have no idea.
How about credit cards? Do you know if she had credit
I have
cards?
no idea.
During that year, did you give her money for gas or expenses?
Probably could have, probably did.
On average, how often would you give her money to sustain herself?
I have no idea, sir. It could be, again, it could be once a week, it could be once a month. I don't really recall.
And how about her clothing? Did y'all help her buy clothing during that year before?
No, sir, I never did.
How about, do you know if your wife did?
You have to ask her.
Do you know one way or the other?
You have to ask my wife.
But my question is, do you know one way or the other if she did?
No, I do not know.
Okay, now, when is the first time you heard of Zenaida Gonzales? Just heard the name?
I never heard that name until July of 2008.
Okay. And what was the circumstances the very first time you heard it?
When my granddaughter came missing.
And was that, how did you hear the name? Zany? Is that the way you heard it?
You just asked me about Zenaida Gonzales. I didn't hear that name, sir, until July of 2008.
Okay. When is the first time you ever heard the name Zany? Would it be Zanny? Would that be the same time?
No, sir. I heard that about a year prior to that.
Okay. Tell me, what were the circumstances when you heard Zanny a year prior to that?
That was a lady that was watching my granddaughter
Okay.
when my daughter was working.
And when you say about a year earlier, you mean earlier than July '08. So around the summer of '07 is when you say you would have heard that
Yes,
name.
sir. That's probably an accurate statement, yes.
And who did you hear it from?
My daughter.
And what did she tell you?
A lady by the name of Zanny was watching her daughter occasionally when she went to work. And if it wouldn't be for her, it'd be my wife watching my granddaughter.
Now, having read through some things, I understand that it's your position about 99% of the time, if Kaylee was not with Casey, it would be you or your wife watching her. Is that right?
Absolutely.
So in this 1% of the time that you two weren't watching it, who else would do the watching, to your knowledge?
I just answered that, sir. Supposedly a lady by the name of Zanny.
Well, are there any other friends or family members other
It's
than...
a possibility, sir. I really don't know.
Hold on, sir. If you'll let me finish. It's just hard on her if we talk over each other. And I'll try not to do it to you. Were other family members or friends, to your knowledge, other than this lady named Zanny, watching Casey at all in that 1% of the time in the year leading up to the disappearance?
I'm not going to answer your question because what you just said is someone was watching my daughter, Casey.
I'm sorry. Was someone watching Kaylee?
I just answered that. There's only besides my wife and I, one other person who was watching my granddaughter was Zanny.
Okay, so the answer would be, to your knowledge, there
No
were no
one else besides the three of us were watching our child, watching our granddaughter.
There we go.